Before we delve into the ancient secrets and shifting shadows of the Whispering Woods, take a moment to settle in. Imagine a world where maps lie and the very ground beneath your feet whispers forgotten tales. If you're ready to embark on a journey of mystery and discovery, make sure to subscribe, like this story, and leave a comment below with your initial thoughts. Your engagement fuels our adventure. Now, let the story begin. The village of Oakhaven clung to the edge of the world like a forgotten moss patch on an ancient stone. Its timber homes, weathered by generations of wind and rain, huddled together as if seeking solace from the vast, brooding presence that dominated their horizon, the Whispering Woods. For Elara, a cartographer barely past her 20th summer, Oakhaven was both home and cage. Her days were a meticulous dance of ink on parchment, charting the familiar, unchanging trails that snaked through the outer fringes of the woods, paths that had remained constant for as long as anyone could remember. Her small cottage, tucked away from the village square, was a sanctuary of maps, compasses, and the scent of dried herbs. Life was predictable, comforting in its quiet rhythm, yet a subtle yearning for something more, something unknown, often tugged at the edges of her dreams. It was on one such routine expedition, mapping the seasonal shifts of the Elderwood Trail, that the familiar tapestry of her world began to unravel. The air, usually crisp with the scent of pine and damp earth, grew heavy, almost viscous. Her compass needle, a steadfast companion, began to twitch erratically, spinning in lazy, confused circles. Elara, a woman of logic and precise measurements, frowned, tapping the glass. A trick of the magnetic fields, perhaps? But then she looked up. The trees, ancient oaks and gnarled birches that usually stood as immutable sentinels, seemed to shimmer. Not with heat haze, but with an almost imperceptible distortion, as if the very fabric of reality was rippling. She consulted her map, then the landscape. The gully she had meticulously charted last spring was now shallower, and a cluster of 3 distinctive boulders, her usual landmark, was simply gone. In their place stood a grove of silver-leaf trees she'd never seen before, their leaves catching the sunlight with an unnatural luminescence. This section of the woods was shifting. It defied every line on her carefully drawn maps, mocked her precision, and ignited a spark of profound unease within her. Driven by a professional disbelief that bordered on obsession, Elara pushed deeper into this anomalous zone. The air grew colder, even as the sun pierced the canopy. The melodic hum, faint at first, grew steadily louder, a low, resonant brum that seemed to vibrate in her very bones. It drew her, inexorably, to a small clearing bathed in an ethereal, pulsing light. There, half buried beneath the tangled roots of an ancient, colossal oak, lay the source of the hum. It was an artifact, unlike anything she had ever seen. Smooth, obsidian-dark stone, yet it pulsed with an inner soft blue glow, radiating a warmth that defied its cold exterior. It felt ancient, impossibly old, and imbued with a power she couldn't comprehend. Back in Oakhaven, the artifact carefully wrapped in her satchel, Elara tried to convey her discovery. The elders, their faces etched with the wisdom of generations, listened with polite, weary smiles. "Just the woods playing tricks," old Master Thorn chuckled, waving a dismissive hand. They spoke of folklore and old wives' tales, of shadows and imagination. But then, Maeve, the village's reclusive herbalist, emerged from the shadows of her doorway. Her eyes, clouded with age, held a piercing intensity that belied her frail frame. "Leave it be, child," she rasped, her voice like dry leaves skittering across stone. "Some things are best left buried, There's a power in those woods, a forgotten power, and a tragedy that echoes still. That stone, it remembers. Maeve's words, unlike the elder's dismissals, resonated with a chilling truth. Despite the skepticism and Maeve's ominous warning, Elara's scientific curiosity, now intertwined with a burgeoning sense of dread, refused to be silenced. The artifact, now resting on her bedside table, had begun to subtly influence her sleep. Her dreams were no longer mundane reflections of her day, but vivid, fragmented visions of towering crystalline structures nestled amongst impossibly ancient trees, figures cloaked in light, and then a sudden, blinding flash, followed by an overwhelming sense of loss and a looming, formless threat. The hum of the artifact seemed to synchronize with her heartbeat, a constant, insistent whisper. It was more than just a strange stone. It was a key, a fragment of a forgotten history. Elara knew, with a certainty that chilled her to the bone, that she had to uncover the truth behind the whispering woods and the artifact, no matter the cost. The whispering woods had revealed a sliver of its true nature, and Elara, armed with a pulsating artifact and Maeve's cryptic warning, found herself standing at the precipice of a forgotten history. The village, once her entire world, now felt small, its concerns trivial against the backdrop of the ancient power she had unearthed. The days following her unsettling discovery were a blur of frantic research. Elara abandoned her mapping expeditions, her cottage transforming into a cluttered sanctuary of forgotten lore. She haunted the dusty, seldom visited corners of Oakhaven's meager library, a collection of brittle scrolls and leather-bound tomes that the villagers considered little more than curiosities. Her fingers, usually stained with ink, were now smudged with ancient dust as she meticulously sifted through fragmented accounts of the Whispering Woods. Most were vague, superstitious ramblings about spirits and curses, but amidst the chaff, she found glimmers of truth. One particularly fragile scroll, its parchment thin as onion skin, spoke of the Lumina, a people who had lived in perfect harmony with the woods, drawing upon its inherent energy for their astounding creations. Another hinted at living architecture and songs that shaped stone. These were not the simple folk tales of Oakhaven. These were echoes of a civilization far more advanced, far more intertwined with the natural world than she had ever imagined. The artifact, resting on her desk, seemed to hum in recognition, its soft blue glow intensifying whenever she stumbled upon a particularly relevant passage. The visions in her dreams grew clearer, too, fleeting glimpses of intricate, ethereal cities woven into the very trees, and a sense of profound, almost unbearable light. Armed with these tantalizing clues, and with the artifact now a constant, guiding presence, Elara knew she had to return to the heart of the anomaly. This was no longer a mapping exercise. It was a quest. She packed light, a sturdy satchel, her most reliable compass, though she suspected its utility in this shifting zone was limited, and a small, sharp knife. The air grew colder as she approached the boundary of the shifting woods, the melodic hum of the artifact now a vibrant thrum against her palm. This time, the forest did not merely shimmer, it seemed to breathe. Trees subtly shifted their positions, pathways she remembered vanished, replaced by new, untrodden routes. Yet the artifact pulled her forward, its light growing brighter, its hum resonating deeper within her. It was in a clearing where ancient, moss-covered stones lay scattered like forgotten teeth that she encountered him. He moved with the silent grace of a shadow, a figure cloaked in rough-spun hides, his face obscured by a hood woven with leaves and twigs. He was lean, agile, and carried a finely crafted bow. Kael. He emerged from the dense undergrowth, his eyes sharp and wary, fixed on her,
then on the glowing artifact in her hand. "You shouldn't be here," he rasped, his voice as rough as bark. "These woods don't take kindly to outsiders." Elara, startled but refusing to show fear, explained her purpose, her discovery. Kael listened, his expression unreadable. He had been living off the land, a solitary hunter, but he too had noticed the woods' strange behavior, the anomalies that defied the seasons. He had been seeking answers of his own, though his methods were instinctual, not scientific. An uneasy alliance was struck, born of mutual curiosity and the shared, unspoken understanding that the woods held secrets far grander than either of them had imagined. The artifact, guided by its unwavering pull and Kael's uncanny knowledge of the forest's hidden veins, they pressed on. The ethereal map within the artifact's glow, once faint, now pulsed with a clearer, more defined path. It led them away from any known trail, through thickets that seemed to part for them, and over streams that appeared and disappeared like fleeting thoughts. Finally, nestled deep within a particularly ancient, untouched part of the woods where the trees grew impossibly tall and the air thrummed with a palpable energy, they found it. A hidden, overgrown path, almost swallowed by moss and creeping vines. It was a path clearly carved by hands long gone, leading into a dense, almost impenetrable wall of ancient foliage. Beyond it, Elara felt it, the unmistakable presence of something vast, something monumental. The artifact vibrated violently in her hand, its light illuminating the entrance to what could only be the remnants of the lost civilization, the ruins.
And with that, our tale takes a pause. If you've enjoyed unraveling the mysteries with us, don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling adventures. Give this video a like if you're eager for the next chapter, and share it with anyone who loves a good story. Finally, let us know your theories and favorite moments in the comments below. The next chapter will be revealed once this video hits 200 views and 50 likes. Your engagement fuels our journey.